What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to more of the Mars TV Dota League action. We have shifted over to the late night / early morning crew here in beautiful Los Angeles. What time is it, gentlemen? It's like 4 or 3 in the morning, something like that. It don't matter. We got our energy beverages, we got our wits about us, and we're ready to go. We got Gods, we got Jack, and we got LGD taking on LFY now in our winner bracket final. Should be super hype. We're looking forward to it. Jack, let's start with you. But let's not jump into this matchup immediately. I know you've been hanging out in the bullpen area a bit, watching some of the games, and watching them through the Chinese stream. So what did they evaluate based on maybe some of the earlier matches, which we had EG versus OG, and then after that, of course, we got to see a newbie play versus... who again?
Evaluate is a strong.
Yeah,
evaluate is a very strong word, Dakota. There's a lot of flaming. There's a lot of back and forth.
Yeah, I just give us the scoop on what's been happening on Chinese Twitch, Jack. That's what I'm asking. Okay, what's been memeing all day today? Because we've been watching on the English coverage side of things.
Well, I mean, the usual.
You are the portal here
for
to
the players,
that world.
So today is kind of an interesting day in terms of matchups. So you had both Chinese direct invites. You had IG and Newbie going at it.
Yes.
And then you had the two Western teams, the Western Big Daddies, as they call them, coming to this MDL tournament, that being EG and OG going at it. And Arteezy received quite a bit of flack, which I believe is not unique to the Chinese stream today. Very easy to go over there both ways, but obviously, that's just how it goes. The team's not doing well, you're going to receive a lot of the flame. And then we have the civil war begins right here, LGD versus LFY. LFY is, well... LGD, let's just go quickly into the names. It's a sauce. It's a hot sauce.
That's
out in Guizhou province out there, and so that's like their sponsor name. But LFY, obviously LGD.Forever Young, but the abbreviations have changed to some people's imaginations. There's LGD.FU. There is there's LFY, which is like old, like kind of LFY Young, which is like old, like cash cow, so to speak.
Okay.
Kind of like old, dependable cash cow or old fat cow or whatever. Actually sheep, but basically a cash cow. And
nice.
Then, or like Godfather kind of as well, or old Buddha. So there's a lot of different names
LGD, you want to play with us? Yeah. That was my terrible Italian accent, by the way. So.
That's one way to look at it. So these two teams, obviously like sister teams, been playing each other pretty tight, like in regional qualifiers, and they came out of the obviously regionals for TI as well. So in the last few months, they've really started to pick up steam a little bit, whereas before it was pretty much Newbie and IG dominating the domestic scene, and IGV as well. So these two teams, the fans have been saying, it's one day after another. Like one day LGD will look like a dynasty. They'll win every single match. Next day they'll lose every match. So today, I believe, is a good day. Supposed to be a good day for LGD. So they're supposed to kick some butt today, and we'll see if that ends up being the case.
Guess we don't have to say anything else then. So LGD's going to win.
The prophecy is spoken. Okay.
Go get your fake money betting on, we'll say. I don't know.
It still blows me away that the LFY, it's an abbreviation inside an abbreviation, because the L stands for LGD, which then stands for something else. I'm just like, there's too many layers going on here, Jack. They need to dumb down their nicknames for us Western Dota viewers.
Well, the way they had it going with CDEC, they had all the like CDEC A, CDEC like B, C. It was too much. It was getting a little bit odd. And eHome had like multiple teams as well. eHome L, eHome X, eHome K. It was just getting a little bit crazy. So
something unique, but still LGD.
HGT, right?
HGT. That's a name I've not heard since.
That's a great one.
So
Hard
the fans
Skit Together or Hyperglory Team.
That was being mentioned as well because when Kaka was struggling a little bit.
Yeah, he used to play Wisp on that team all the time. He was such a sick Wisp player on that team.
HGT, what's Kaka doing? So
I used to be on the like Chinese regionals for like TI hubs before, so I got cast a lot of HGT. It was fun.
Dude, YJ, everyone else is going like barbarian and assassin. He's like, no, I'm a sorcerer.
I'm a sorcerer. I'm gonna cast a spell on you, Lao Gandier. The magical sauce.
Wow, that does look very wizardly. Yeah, actually.
Victoria.
I have yet to see a wizard among these pictures, but he's the first.
And then you got Yao just being a badass, like you do. Too easy though, just giving him a weapon and telling him to pose.
That looks too mean for you. You were just talking about this. Yao is like the chillest dude, but they have this, This looks so intimidating and so.
He's like, don't make me touch that sword. But otherwise, it's just going to be here for the rest of the day.
If someone is like, is Yao crying? Is Yao in the army or what? That's what the stream is going right now.
Yeah, because I knew him to play like a really
Is that the Chinese Twitch chat?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here's the main thing. So I asked LGD manager, he was joking about how this would go earlier today, and he's like, hey, you guys know that the boss is on LFY, right? And that's referring, of course, to Inflame, who is romantically involved with Ruru, the boss of the LGD organization. And so they're like,
the mob boss.
I'm not sure about this. I'm not sure if we could play this game on. This situation kind of came up. I think last year there was a cruise, and ended up it was super late night, and me and a bunch of people actually played against Ruru and some of her friends in a Dota game. Someone on our team was one of the coaches for CDEC, which is also under the LGD org. And then Ruru looked across, and Ruru was like, "Hey, that guy's like 6K, 7K. He's not allowed to play this or that." And then the guy was like, "I'm really scared right now. I'm not sure if I can play seriously. If I gotta,
I'm gonna get fired.
I gotta be careful what I do here." So, kind of a joke as well, but within the organization, obviously. He's known as the boss as well, like the little boss is in flames.
Super, looks so unenthusiastic.
He
like,
looks the least scary.
I guess I'll defend. I don't know. Anyways, give me DK and Razor and Viper, and I'll just do my thing in the mid lane. I'm super, by the way.
He's known for being the lazy player too. And he's
I used to be on Vici Gaming, but now I'm here. My bros, LFY and Fenrir left me. It's fine.
How dissatisfied he looks.
That is the look of somebody who has to play Viper or Razor, I guess, right?
Earned for the day of playing Invoker again, but
And the chat is also filled with some talk of the Evil Teddy, and if you're wondering who Evil Teddy is, it is maybe. So the origin, I looked a little bit into this, but so apparently there's a breed of dog. It's like the Teddy dog or whatever. That's
Teddy dog.
Extremely
fluffy,
frisky.
Right, frisky.
Frisky,
like
as in like
horn dog.
Yeah, like a horn dog basically.
Okay, so a horn dog.
So as the story goes, I forget what tournament it was, but one of the tournaments LGD came to play in the U.S. and then when they went back to China, maybe decided to stay behind for a little bit to like hang out with like his girlfriend at the time.
Okay.
And so that meme just kind of began from there. They just called him the Teddy dog or the Teddy, and he just became the Evil Teddy as well. So you'll see a lot of that going.
Wait, where's the evil come into it?
It's just was there the movie with the evil Teddy or like demonic?
Isn't it just called Ted or something?
No, that's the
recent
comedy.
movie.
No, that was not the evil.
That's
that
comedy.
That was the Mark Wahlberg super
Oh, you're
cool
talking
thing.
about the actual like horror movie.
I don't even think
like
they know
Chucky
that
or
movie.
something, or
Is it
Friday
like
the
is it a
13th?
Chinese movie or a Western movie?
I don't think it's a Chinese movie. I can't see that the Chinese having that kind of.
An evil
Someone
Teddy.
said Toy Story 3.
Yeah, that's what it is. Evil Teddy and Toy Story 3.
Yeah.
Anyways, more Sith Lords on LFY, as you can see. But guess what, gentlemen? Our draft has actually started up. Sorry you don't get to see the cooler casters over there.
DDC is a Sith Lord. So, yeah, they call him Tickets in China because he always finds punches
Lord.
his tickets to
Finds ways to get in.
to tournaments. But obviously he had his streak of Valve tournaments broken as well
Yeah.
with Kiev, I believe.
Yeah.
And so
He's got that kind of legendary status.
with Misery also fallen from the ranks, we now have no one who's been to every single...
Oh, Virtus Pros, no one actually has not been to all of them,
I see.
Jack. Yo, gotcha.
Well played, well played.
Oh boy, it's gonna be a long night.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those nights,
Oh,
gentlemen.
no.
We're on China time here.
Yeah, it's not late to start. Normally it's like 12:30, 1 o'clock. We're rolling in. We had.
It's going to get even loopier then. This
Two
is normally
full
like when we
series.
start the second series, and now
Yeah.
we're just beginning.
We're starting the second series. Jack is finally like feeling a bit tired, starting to doze off a bit.
Yeah.
But that's game one for us.
Woo! Okay.
Nice.
Oh, this is sick.
I'm ready.
I'm liking the production coming out of MDL.
That's like the augmented reality. I
So the
believe.
Chinese chat will...
It's filling up the audience more than the audience is, that's for sure.
Well, that's what the Chinese chat is saying. The thing they keep saying right now is Zhenhai, which is like, look at that sea of people. Look at that giant crowd.
Sarcasm.
So that's the Eastern equivalent of Ricky Crowd.
Yeah,
right?
Ricky
I'm
Crowd,
gonna put up
for
Twitch
sure.
chat and let me.
Yeah,
All 5 people. Ricky Crowd. There we go.
Yeah, that's just the other teams waiting to play in the audience, really. But all right, we got a draft underway. Let's begin. LGD.Forever Young versus LGD Gaming, sister teams battling it out for who's going to be the first team in that grand final.
So some differences in overall draft philosophy between these teams. So we've called LFY a couple nights ago. We called them the Bog because they seem to have these like, well, This is just too big of a generalization, but they just have these, like, they go with these meaty cores often in the mid. Something like a Death Prophet they'll pick very early on as a core, whereas LGD tend to prefer to save their core picks the last in the draft. LFY, if they get a core that they like early on, they have no qualms about taking it, whether it's a Drow, whether it's if they run a Drow strat, whether it is the DK, especially, or the Death Prophet. So usually a relatively tanky hero that takes objectives out of the mid lane. That's been their preferred playstyle. That's been Super's kind of preferred hero pool as well. So that's something to watch out for here. And LFY also take Afu's hero very early just about every time. Whether it's an Earthshaker, which they seem to play like a lot on the 4 compared to other teams, whether it's an Earth Spirit, whether it's Kunkka, in this case, Ban. They'll take that very early on. So
Sand King.
And there's, well, yeah, that's going to be the Afu hero there. So,
I mean, if we're going to get away with saying that LFY are the bog, muddy, swampy, just coming at you, and there's not much you can do about it, like a moving piece of quicksand that's just going to suck up your game and your life, what would you say LGD Gaming are, Parker, then? If they're not bog-like, how would you describe this posse of players?
They're more like a 80s rock band, you know?
Ooh, I
Maybe
like
he's
that.
like the front man, he's the star, he's the guy you play around, and everyone else is kind of the supporting cast in some ways, you
That's
know?
cool.
You got your bassist, you got your percussion players, you know? But it's all about maybe as far as, like, when I watch this team, I feel like he's the guy you'll look to. He's like the Sumail of LGD.
So then, in that case, Jack, who is the, like, who is the bassist, would you say? Who's the drummer, and then who's the guy who's not getting laid and is probably like moving the equipment in instead or playing the mouth harp?
I need to brush up on my band stereotypes a little bit before I can go too much into that. So, bassist and drummer, what would you say?
You know, I mean, like, so when you look at a rock band, you know,
Yeah.
it's all about the lead singer normally,
Yeah,
right?
okay.
You know,
Maybe it's
let's say
obviously
like
lead
Kiss, for example. You
Yeah.
know, Gene Simmons, he's
Right.
like the face of Kiss. So you look
Right.
at that, and that would be maybe, let's say, in this case.
Uh-huh.
But, you know, the drummer's also great. He's got to set the tempo for the music, so, and he gets down. The bassist is also kind of right there, maybe even backs up a bit with vocals. But then after that, we're going into like third string, fourth string. You're talking about the synthesizer player, the keyboardist, maybe the backup vocalist who's going, ooh, ooh.
Who's
or,
cooler?
you know,
Who's usually cooler, the bassist or the drummer?
I think the drummer's like the
Drummer.
offlane player, personally.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
the
yeah.
offlane player's like does his own thing. He's kind of a bit weird. Like no one like everyone's like, well, he's a drummer. Like what's like, but he's kind of cool too.
Yeah, you
so.
think everyone could do the job, but some drummers are actually better than others.
Yeah.
Maybe they
Perfect.
get that solo.
Then that is 11, because 11's
Okay.
previous nickname was the King of Tempo, the Tempo King.
Ooh.
That sounds right
And they're
for a
tempo
drummer, so we're
controllers.
going with
I think that
11.
couldn't be
He
more
is the
perfect.
drummer. Bassist, I gotta go with Yao. I mean, Yao is like the chillest dude on the team. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he's pretty much
Boom,
embraced that.
boom, boom.
Just like DDC, he's kind of embraced his captain role now that maybe he wasn't doing as frequently before. Moving to that support position. So there you go.
So who is the awkward hand synthesizer player who looks like a creeper?
The hand synthesizer player. Then
Who's that guy?
I'd probably have to go with Victoria.
Victoria.
Victoria, I think.
The sorcerer.
Yeah, the sorcerer. The sorcerer guy is definitely the synth dude.
All right, fair enough. All right, let's not go down this road too much longer. It's been a lot of fun. It's just we give so much attention to LFY for being boggy and stuff. It's fun to have a bit of a change up here for LGD. So Sand King, Bat Rider for LFY, LGD, Earthshaker, and AA, your TI5 combo, if you will.
Yeah, so AA is another hero that's picked up a lot of popularity in the Chinese scene as well, and I think it might have been a deny pick as well, something that LFY has run quite a bit. So obviously these teams are super familiar with each other. They've I think they've played each other twice recently in both qualifiers at this tournament, obviously, and I think LGD won both games, but pretty tightly contested games. And the counter pick cores aspect kind of was really prominent in their MDL match, because LFY went with a Drow strat, and ultimately LG decided to go with a mid Phantom Lancer for maybe and Sven, and they really struggled at the start of that game. They kind of got shut down on lanes, but eventually managed to come back and win. So that's also something to keep an eye on. You talk about lead singer, like maybe actually has a sneaky large hero pool. Like they'll be confident playing him on just about anything, including things that you see maybe less commonly as mid cores these days. Something like a Marana, which he's played a few times, and you look at how he plays that versus some other. There's always a unique angle there, and so that versatility is very important for them. And then obviously they want to protect him, so it's usually going to be picked very late in the draft.
More bands moving forward here, getting rid of some of the other kind of tempo controllers or combo breakers, if you will. LGD removing silencer and disruptor here, ruining a lot of what could be pungent team fight potential there. While LGD kind of strike it right to maybe in particular. They fear for now the Queen of Pain, so
Faceless Void.
that means we'll move into a Faceless Void, and already pretty damn nice synergy between him and the AA, so team fight's coming together pretty swell for LGD.
Yeah, good team fight. Maybe more likely a safe lane Void with the Earthshaker pickup, but we'll see if that Shaker's going off lane or where it's headed. Something that is pretty good against the Bat, the time dilation really slows him down. He's a hero that wants to spam out his napalm as much as possible, so Void doesn't have too many problems dealing with that. And also, we're seeing this kind of natural Lincoln's build up on the Void too these days, so he's kind of a bit immune to that Bat Rider lasso initiation.
Almost certainly going to be safe, I think, just because they always pick up that old 11 Earthshaker whenever it's available. Just if it's not banned, it's pretty much going to be picked no matter what from them. And then there, as we take a look at Monet, one of the young and promising Chinese players.
Well, you take a look at Jack.
Yeah, we're not looking at
He's
it here.
oh, that's right.
You
Only
are
I can see
watching.
his screen.
Jack is watching the
He's got a
Chinese
bit of
stream as
he's got a
well.
bit of the Chinese version of Eternal Envy thing going. He's a huge anime fan, core player. That's I guess that's where we start with the similarities.
Yeah,
But
a lot of the kids on these teams are anime fans, apparently, based on their
not as much as
avatars
Monet,
here,
as I've heard.
but not as much as Monet, apparently. He's got the whole thing going.
Inflame's got the Game of Thrones, right?
Isn't that starting up soon? So
Yeah,
Sure he's
his
hype.
name is the name of a Chinese kind of fantasy novel, and his name before was also
oh goodness.
his nickname before was also like an anime character. So yeah,
A Magnus. When's the last time we've seen a Magnus? Did I miss one from maybe earlier today? But
This is
It's been a while.
This is a Super Magnus,
yeah,
right? How else can you lane this?
Dude, Super is like, I heard you guys talking about me, and I'm gonna pick up one of the biggest playmakers ever, Magnus, and I'm taking a mid, like a big boy. That's pretty fun.
Rubik. What
And-
a Rubik game.
Big
Sand King
plays.
Stun, RP. Lasso's like not bad, but yeah, the RP and the bar strike are both amazing for Rubik to try and snag.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That support pick right there had not have fallen into their lap any better. Okay, look at this. Skywrath Mage, one of those ones that used to combo beautifully with Faceless Void a la TI4, but Skywrath Mage also works very well against Faceless Void. Anyone that he managed to trap, if Skywrath is caught on the outside of it, his Mystic Flare could kind of ruin any chance he has on a setup play.
10 seconds.
yeah, I'd like to watch. You have to keep an eye on this roaming combo, obviously, with the Skywrath Mage. Like, just a lot of kill potential between him and the Sand King. They could very easily just dominate the early tempo of this game.
Reserve time.
Just curious about the laning position still for LFY. I see.
Probably see like a just safe lane carry. The Magnus can kind of swap lanes, but I want to say the Bat's more likely off lane with Magnus mid. I don't think there's too much flexibility, unless there's some kind of like an aggro tri lane coming out.
It's possible they could want to put the Bat up against the Earthshaker. So
Oh, not
That's the superhero.
It
right?
kind of is, but at the same time, like, who's your safe lane farmer? Are you doing a safe lane Magnus? Isn't Ember theoretically more the safe lane farming hero when you've got Magnus and Bat?
yeah,
They've-
it'd be an Ember safe lane.
It is. I mean, you made the comparison to Eternal Envy. Well, he is one of his classic signature anime heroes.
Yeah, I guess so. Means LGD definitely have a great priority on setting up a... If they're reading it the same as you guys are, they can set up a pretty damn good mid lane right now for maybe. And
Yeah.
that's scary.
And they've got this really scary support duo. Rubik AA, you got the telekinesis into the guaranteed Cold Feet. Cold Feet received a big buff, especially the level 1 being a full 2-second stun if it procs. You've got really high damage output. You can aggro trialing with these supports very easily. So I feel like LGD's lanes look very solid all in all.
Maybe Invoker by chance?
Invoker, OD perhaps, is one of the best counter picks to Ember.
That's true.
Axis maybe as a pseudo save against the Bat Rider. Death Prophet, they're going to go for...
Oh.
Actually, that's a really good lane dominator. This hero can kind of
Yeah.
crush Ember Spirit.
And there's, giving them their
not
own taste
against
of the
Ember,
bog
but
here.
yeah.
The AA and the
Yeah.
Death Prophet, these are very LFY favorite heroes, and the Ember is interesting. The synergy with the Magnus that we haven't seen really in a long time hasn't been as popular, but also when they're looking at a core that wants to be up against Faceless Void and AA, like, you don't want a core who usually starts off in the front lines or something that is an easier target to initiate onto just because of how easily it can be blown up by that combo. In this case, Ember Spirit is mostly not going to be in that position. You have other heroes to start the fights, whether Sand King, Bat, Magnus, and then he's able to come in, follow up, and not expose himself necessarily to the combo or to be chronoed. So, interesting choice there in the core position.
Whoa, why are they spamming so many 7s right now?
Because on that display there's a Mikasa, and Mikasa's nickname in China is God of War 7, and so everything 7777 says 6666, which is what they usually spam.
He's such a stud, man.
There's another pun that goes with that too. He's God of War 7, and 7, the word for 7 is also the word for wife or girlfriend, and so his girlfriend was also a caster, Kiko, one of the Chinese casters. When she's on, they'll say it's God of War's wife instead of God of War 7. It's the same word. So
that's pretty cool.
Yep.
Mikasa just looks like an action movie star.
Yeah, he's a real humble guy, really fun to play with because he has such a command in the game. Like, all you got to do is just listen to him and play, and you can win like that. So, well, that's a little off topic.
All right, gentlemen, let's get into it. Game number 1 of our winner bracket final. It's an all LGD affair, so get your Laogandia sauce ready. It's time to play some Dota here. Everyone's warming up the chat wheel action, and we got the Ward Wars underway.
I'm going to be fluent in Russian by the end of this TI season. At least as far as these phrases make me think I'll be fluent in Russian.
Yeah, by far Vlad gets the gold star for his chat wheel 1.
I like Casper's. It's simple. It's like, it's GG. It's the GG. Nothing much to it. It's short, simple, and sweet, but...
Nothing too strange, it looks like, possibly for your laning setup here. But Super Magnus going in this mid lane matchup, which we expect to be a pretty dominating one for the Death Prophet. So do you keep the Sand King, Mr. Afu, flirting around with Super in this mid lane?
Likely we see him try and... He kind of wants to avoid this Rubik AA duo just because they can kill him very easily. So I feel like he's going to go wherever this Radiant supports are not. So if the supports are at the bottom lane, he may go mid. If the supports decide to go mid, he may go bottom. He's just going to go and go to a lane where he can have a numbers advantage, basically.
He'll set up a block for now for Super, who will head down the lane path. Victoria also here on the other side on his Rubik. I'm curious if they'll favor giving him maybe a little bit of extra XP juice this game, because it's just so palpable out there on how many sweet, delicious options are there for him. Getting that level 6 online a bit sooner might be, tempting almost.
This 11 Shaker is very unique, and it doesn't actually fissure block his off lane like most Earthshaker players do. It's kind of a unique way of playing it. We saw, I think it was even yesterday, I want to say it was him or someone, one of the Shakers was going like a 0-1-2 build with no points in Fissure until level 4. So we've seen all kinds of different Earthshaker builds coming out.
You say unique now. Do you think that is not as efficient? Do you think that that's not the appropriate way to play it? Do you think the Shakers who are doing the block are kind of doing it right?
So he's just got this early level 1 totem. He's going to use it to secure last hits. I believe with the way the creep waves meet close to your tower, it's actually, you don't have to use the fissure to get levels like maybe you had to in some of the older patches.
Okay.
He gets he just got a range creep deny out of the totem. He theoretically can secure a few last hits this way.
Yeah, and you want to get a good block as well. If you do end up fissure blocking, so the way they'll deal with the Earthshaker usually is to just stack and pull.
Yep.
And if you're a little bit further away, you don't really have any chance of either contesting it or finding some way to leech experience, like say from the low ground. So again, if he's able to get something out of it, then he doesn't feel the need to do that.
Yeah. Teams are just gotten so good at like, oh, you're going to deny our way back with Enigma or fissure block it back. Well, we've got a counterplay for it, and that's going to be using those stacks and pulls as you mentioned. So I think the offlane play has changed with that.
Afu trying to invade here. He's probably trying to snipe up that bounty route. They trade stuns, but 11 is going to be the one to pick it up here. A rotation was coming by the Skywrath, but it's bottom lane actually where there's going to be the first blood. I miss it. I admit it. I'll own up to it, folks. Hit me with it. The T-Tours is coming. It's going to be Batrider who goes down first.
Hey, Dakota, I missed it too.
Okay. Hit them up. Hit them up as well. Let's share the love here. Jack, you missed it, right?
No comment. No comment.
Okay. Okay. Top lane, 11, quick to TP out, which is the right call to make because trouble was coming. Afu was about to round the corner there, and he just makes a simple trip down the lane a bit. And you know what? That one may have happened as well somewhere.
that one I caught. He was going for going in the jungle, but nothing too crazy. The
I'm off to a
Rubik
pretty
AA.
good start. Pretty good start here. Nice and warmed up.
This is the warm. This is a throwaway game, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna hack into Hitmonkel's obs right now, so any future camera misses are him.
They've killed the boss twice. These guys are got to be careful if they want to stay on the LGD team.
Uh-oh. Yeah, this offlane bat has gotten okay levels, but Shaker is getting just as much, if not slightly more, and having a better time in his offlane. Again, going for this no fissure build. At least likely not until level 4 or something.
And while it's pretty good for him, I'm checking his opposing offlaner friend. We got Bat Rider, level 2 with some boots and a lace. He's been burning his way through the creeps nearby, but can't really hang it out in the lane for now. So
Yeah, the inherent durability on the Earthshaker, like with the starting HP, his HP gain is pretty good. They have to combo their spells very well, or he has to be out of position to kill him. So that's something that they've taken advantage of. And the Ember Spirit, for his damage early on in lane as a safe laner, it's going to come mostly from levels of Flame Guard, not from anything else. Whereas at bottom, if they have the Chilling Touch up, if they're able to freeze the Bat Rider with Rubik and AA, they can basically right-click him down fairly easily. He's nowhere near as durable of a hero with basically 2 armor and less HP than this Earthshaker. So that's something that he's got to be careful about, especially if he's going to try and contest the runes and play very aggressively.
watching over this mid matchup, it's still pretty
Top
close.
lane, they're going to Shaker.
Oh no, my goodness! Ah! 11 goes down. Yep, gets the back end of it.
Concussive shot, Searing Chains, just chase him down with some Flame Guard.
I got a front row seat for this one though. Bottom lane, Bat Rider's in trouble. Frozen up, zapped, fade bolted, cut all the action. Mid lane, a little bit of a trade here, a fight over the rune nearby.
Oh, is that the kill order coming out from Inflame in all chat? He gave him the dot.
I don't know what to
Jack?
say. He's
What's the boss?
this last one almost felt like you know, I dare you, just kill me again, just do it one more time, and they did. So
You fired.
the band's gonna have to reform after this one.
That's okay. That's an everyday occurrence.
Well, that's gonna be a real problem for him. He's actually smoked up right now with Afu, so they're gonna try to get this gank onto the Death Prophet to pick something up, or if not, I mean, there's no stacks in the jungle right now. How does this Bat Rider get back into this game after the start? It's a pretty disastrous beginning here for him. And actually, they're going to come back around.
Looking for a support, I guess, at this point when you kind of make these moves in the enemy jungle, perhaps ending up as a last resort in the mid lane. But this is a tough kill on a Death Prophet who has 2 Spirit Siphon, about to be 3 Spirit Siphon charges, boots, bottle charges, very hard kill.
As you were describing that, I noticed they already 180 the other direction. Yeah. Up and above, nearby in the river,
Yeah.
DDC, though, is in trouble. They get the telekinesis, pull back into a stun, and he is easily killed.
The story of this early game, basically ended up being a smoke to ward. We were expecting the support duo, the Skywrath and Sand King, to be making plays, or at least I was, from LFY. Instead, it's been the opposite. Yao and Victoria have been on the spot with their own support rotations, the AA and the Rubik.
The nice thing they're doing is they're sticking together. So they suck together the bottom, they kill the bat a bunch. This time they try to stick together mid, but the lift isn't there with the cold feet quite in time. But these supports alone are not all that scary, but put them together and you've got guaranteed cold feet, you've got a lot of guaranteed damage output with the chilling touch as well. They're a lot scarier as a tandem duo than as solo performers.
Yeah, and with the Bat Rider just having himself a really rough game, although, you know, Old Levin's not having the easiest time up here as an Earthshaker. He hasn't died nearly as much. He's gotten more out of his lane. Then they really lose that tempo point, as the Chinese would say, going into the early mid game. He's got no easy way to catch up at this point. He doesn't really have the stacks. He's able to... It's going to be a long time before he gets up, most likely one, probably drums. And his blink is going to be very far away, and so limits his combat ability, limits their ability to take pickoffs. They have a lot of, like, kind of bursty and single target damage, and it's going to be hard to get that going if they don't have someone to initiate the fights.
This first Exorcism mid is not going to do too much damage to the tower. Gets it down low, but doesn't actually take it down, and I think LGD will be intent on bringing it down during their next assault on this mid lane. But for now, they're happy. Void's farming safe lane. Shaker was just getting some jungle farm going. Nice thing with this build, with this 2 points in passive, the totem, is you can jungle fairly effectively, and even has an Iron Talent to assist in that.
And during that time, we're going to be seeing a mirror of farm coming out from LFY. So while the clock continues to tick and LGD can kind of coast till whenever they want to continue that push pattern, maybe it's when the Exorcism's back online again. Is that in LFY's best interest? Is it just farm and probably accept the fact you're going to be losing some tier 1s? When should they, you know, begin to go on the offensive, if ever?
If they want to probably play more reactionary, like they can defend against the Exorcism if they bring in 4 or 5 heroes. Ember is going to offer at least like a level 7-8 Ember, can actually TP in and pose a big threat, but you have to kind of be set up with 3 heroes there, then TP in the next 2, for example. Like TP 1 to the tower, 1 to the shrine, and then engage. So it's not easy to defend their towers, but they can definitely do it even against an ulti coming out from maybe's Death Prophet.
DDC grabbing up the DD. Yep. Nearby leaves Victoria with the bounty rune. We're going on 8 minutes. Supports are moving forward here towards those level 6s. We have some new ulti options that are online, and we could see the teams get a bit more proactive with, for example, you know, like the Chronosphere. And as I say that, they're smoking, they're moving, and they want to make some action happen with the bubble. And if they can have it happen here in the mid lane, I was going to say followed up with the finish of the tower, but it looks like maybe it's already got it hit down. It was denied, but the access point is removed.
They're going to head top instead, where an Ember goes aggressive.
Whoa, dunk to try to stop him in his place, but it does look like Monet will be able to burn through 11. Now, if he sticks around with this pole camp, he could be in a bit of trouble, but it does look like he turns the other direction just as Victoria tries to go in, but Ame steps in, hits him with the Chrono, and now the Soul Siphon should help get the finish. The telekinesis nicely timed, so he can't even attempt any sort of escape.
Yeah, this is really kind of feels like a role reversal. Like if you had blanked out the team's names and you asked me to guess which one was LFY, I'd have gone with the Radiant here. The pushing tempo mid, getting these ganks and taking towers. The reactive style I don't think really fits LFY very well, as we see Inflame might go down again bottom by the tower.
Yes, he will.
And this LGD is kind of, it feels like they're stealing LFY's thunder a little bit with this playstyle. Now this game is going so far.
Teams that do train together, and perhaps LGD have taken a page out of LFY's book, thinking we can play your strat and beat you with it. As so far, things are going pretty smoothly for the LGD team with their early game.
That is interesting. I mean, I imagine outside of already the couple times they've played each other in officials, this is a team that likely practice with each other a lot, so I don't know if this is something that was expected from LFY or not, but I'm sure it's something LGD welcome the idea of mirroring.
Nice blast bottom.
Ooh, does connect.
Looking for a bash, he didn't get it.
Bullying this Bat Rider in the bottom lane.
Just popped a Mask of Madness on inside, right-clicking the bat, but didn't find a time lock. If he did with the Ice Blast, likely a kill. Very close.
Alright, forget my alt-up camera here. We got some chitlins. Here we go. Top lane. A swift burrow out from Afu. He avoids the extra trouble there. But LGD are persistent.
Yeah, and they're persistent, but at the same time they're not over-pushing their boundaries. Like 2 Death Prophet ultimates we've seen, neither actually fully took down a tower. Made it got to a couple hundred HP. They kill it later or gets denied, but either way, the philosophy is don't fully commit to a tower where we may die for it as Exorcism ends. And same thing top. They get the kill, use Exorcism, they get the tower down low, but they don't worry about finishing it off. It may lead to another tower deny. Unfortunately, I'm missing out on some gold, but they are still getting the map control out of this.
Bottom lane jump, silence, and quick execution of Ame. Really didn't even have the chance. Good smoke rotation comes out from LFY. They'll be rewarded there. As a response, LGD continue the pressure through the top lane, and last hit. Oh, not good timing there for 11. But he's going to work his way closer to getting that Blink Dagger online.
What's interesting to look at is kind of the initiation range of both teams. Obviously, like you're gonna need a Blink Dagger up on this Magnus, which after that kill he's only a few hundred gold, 500 gold away, and then the Bat Rider was very far away from his before they really start to do things. Because otherwise, the heroes don't directly threaten objectives very well. So if you're talking about like Magnus and Ember, like for the most part, it's not gonna be safe for them to be standing at a tower and just hitting the tower itself. versus you have maybe with his ult right now working on the top tower. You have the Void, who without the Blink Dagger can initiate from a bit away. Like, these are heroes that present an imminent threat either to heroes or to your objectives without necessarily needing the items to do so. And as we see a kill there onto Monet bottom by Ame, that's going to be an issue for LFY. Like, it just feels like their lineup is very gimpy and not really capable of doing much at this point until they have some crucial items up, and that's been a concession of early tempo that LGD has taken advantage of.
Yeah, Blinks being the name of the game for this dire side, and they're halfway to the Sand King Blink, the Magnus a lot closer. Perhaps we'll see the first big aggressive smoke move coming out of LFY with that item pickup. But again, we just see LGD using ultis, using their spells, finding kills. The Chronosphere plus Ice Blast nets a kill bottom lane. Meanwhile, Death Prophet again, just using this ultimate almost off cooldown just to dish out damage. Gets the top tier 2 tower, not even down to half HP, but still does some damage. And is just looking to kind of play a more methodical game as time goes on, and LFY are not defending any of these objectives at this stage.
Yeah, and it's just, even if you don't get the tower, it's just pressure. You're forcing them to rotate. They're not getting their own farm, not getting anything from the jungle. It's slowing down their timings because they have to come react to you, and at the same time, while they're reacting to you, they don't really have a threat to kill you yet at this point until their crucial items come online. There's counter initiation in droves from LGD, and you know, even with just the Earthshaker behind him or the Void, they can either set a trap, which LFY is going to be afraid to fight into, or just their presence is going to stop. It's going to keep maybe safe while he pounds on the tower. So
this is a fast-moving bog. If they're trying to be bog, this is like real fast, though. I feel like that not even LFY when they do this, it just kind of moves forward this quickly. I mean, it's so fast-moving that LFY can't even get their own tower going. As they try to like move on forward, it feels like LGD are already trying to pressure a tower hard enough to get almost all of LFY out of attendance here. As we see in the top lane, a move going to be made in. Bat Rider able to get the lasso play, but Super Mixer jump gets a good two-man chrono, leads to a nice two-man burrow strike. Yao steps in with the Ice Blast here, but LGD surviving. Turn around, slam it down with a dunk, and get the finish onto Super. Bat Rider also going to get dropped, and DDC tries to coast himself out from trouble here, but down and below, Afu not so lucky. He gets batted down, and it's going to be Ame who picks that one up, and just in time for an exorcism coming out from Maybe means that they can clean out this tier 2 and maybe even get some pressure on the high ground.
And there you go. That's exactly what we're describing. There weren't Blink Daggers up yet on LFY, with the exception of Super, who just showed off his Magnus Blink Dagger. So that reduces the range at which they can start fights. They started fights in two separate fronts right there. The Bat Rider went up top on the kind of northern end, and then Super came around from below for the RP, but just lacking that extra bit of oomph, and then they had to get a little bit closer than they'd like to for initiation. The tempo is just not there because they don't have the crucial items up on their cores, and then LGD were able to weather that, survive that, and then just end up turning it around and then take the tower. So another big loss there from LFY.
I think what we're also seeing is that as much as Death Prophet's kind of talked about as being like an ulti-dependent hero, this hero is very strong fighting without ultimate just because of Spirit Siphon. It does a large amount of damage while healing yourself. You're such a strong frontliner that Death Prophet just sat there tanking damage, dishing it out while healing herself, and the LFY had no way of like getting past her other than like the Bat Rider who kind of swooped over. It doesn't even kill a Rubik, but Bat Rider couldn't get any backup because of how hard to get through the Death Prophet is.
Yeah, this is a hero that puts pressure in the sense that, like, a little bit Venomancer sense, where like if you fight him, you usually just want to go on him and burst him down. If the fight drags on and she's still alive, then the fight starts to look really bad. And then you saw that they weren't really confident in taking her down directly because they didn't actually initiate onto her at all. They wanted to blow up the supports, maybe isolate her, or maybe get out before she can respond, or bog anyone down enough, or obviously cancel TPs. Yeah. That just didn't work out at all, and she just kind of went unscathed while things were happening around her.
Now you're saying in that skirmish, you know, we see it that LFY are lacking quite a bit of that damage, and you know, you're saying that the cores, they obviously need a lot more time before they can get to that level, but do you think it was the appropriate build-up for Monet to go the Boots of Travel? Why not something like the Veil then, so you can get that extra bit of magical burst for maybe one of these team fight, you know, windows that have approached in the game?
This seems more like a late game build, and he's going to go physical damage with the Empower. I think the Veil Ember build is becoming less and less popular. I'm seeing a lot more Embers get the damage talent over the Spell Amp talent, and just playing more like a late game build.
Ooh, mid lane, yeah, Echo, and the Ice Blast.
I think the bigger thing is, I mean, we keep harping on these blinks, but the damage output is there if they can land their spells. The problem is you can't land an Epicenter Burrow Strike without a Blink Dagger. You can't land a good lasso on a key target without a Blink Dagger. He has to Firefly over the trees, and he grabs a Rubik. I'm not even sure if that was like the ideal hero to grab for him. I think he just felt like he had to grab whoever he saw.
The first person he saw,
yeah. And with the Blink Dagger, you can actually be selective. You can jump that Death Prophet a lot easier. You can jump that Faceless Void because all you have to do is be able to see the heroes. It's not like you have to walk into them. You try to walk up to a Death Prophet, you're going to get Spirit Siphon, she's going to use you, and you're going to feed. So I think the idea is less about like getting any big items and more about just completing these blinks, getting better initiations. Problem is, you're now versing an Aegis, LGD, the Bog is moving very quickly, as we've kind of touched upon. I think the LFY playstyle normally takes a bit longer to get going when they have these kind of 5-man Death Ball lineups, but LGD have taken now 3 outer towers at Roshan and likely to take a couple, like probably the rest of these outer towers while they've got this Aegis.
Yeah, and they'll probably notice just now that Afu managed to pick up his Blink Dagger. He died earlier to old 11, right just shy of his Blink, so came down, and this is going to be the first fight with Blink, and LGD know that LFY are here. They've got excellent map vision right now. Usually you see Dire with some kind of control over the Radiant jungle. It makes it difficult for them to farm it, and not the case right now, as LFY are very much on the back foot. They've got to be careful here.
Yeah, they came down here with an approach like they wanted to do something, but either not having enough intel to read the bottom half of the map that LGD could be there waiting. They're just too nervous, too hesitant. They decide to pull out entirely and go back through the motions of farming. I like that. I don't know if it's been acknowledged, but it looks like Super is going to be moving for that Echo Saber to help with the damage. Maybe after he lands the big RP, he can just, right-click in some work.
Yeah, it probably feels like they've got enough lockdown and control. He doesn't need to go for a utility build. It is a mid-Magnus as well. So, fair enough. But at this point, the farm game is not one I feel like is going to win LFY the game. Ember definitely perhaps the shining hope of the late game, which is where we're going to see this Empower Ember. Very hard to push into. High ground is going to be tough for LGD, but you just stick that Death Prophet there with Exorcism and you may actually be strong enough to even go for a high ground push.
Bad Rider's super close to that Blink Dagger now. It's just about going to pick it up here as LGD are looking to breach another tower in this bottom lane. They're just going through each lane, sucking up all the resources there, leaving LFY with, unfortunately, very little options to be able to move out and farm safely.
Something I really like that Arme's doing on the Void is he's just AFK jungling, farming, which is not good because, I mean, it's good because he's farming, but the really good thing about this is he's missing from the map, so for the longest time, LFY don't see him. They see him now as he walks through a ward, but when he's jungling and off the map, they're scared. Pushing this top lane is not easy to do if there's... You see 4 heroes, but the one you don't see is a Void. He could be initiating in with a Chrono, Ice Blast from afar, and then TP support, and just blows up your entire team. So it's very difficult. This top lane would have been pushed to the tier 2 by now if they knew where the Void was.
Well, they call the Void into action because they're looking to move in to the high ground area and try to at least force out some rotations from LFI. Well, it looks like they got what they wanted.
Job done, yeah. They force out those rotations, Exorcism kind of ends, they TP top, Masame gets picked, everything's kind of gone according to plan here, although there may be an initiation.
Quick jump, there is a tower right behind him. Can they burst him fast enough before the rotations come? No, he's able to get the time walk off. He turns around with a Chrono onto 2, and this could be disaster for LFY. Beautiful follow from 11. Hits him with the fissure, hit the enchant. They catch Afu as well. Oh boy.
Yeah, that's why you get the strength talent on Void. Every time I see someone get that plus 15 attack speed, I'm like, your hero's about getting time walk off, and you need health to get that time walk off.
Yeah, and he had the Manta as well with some more stats, and that's the timing has a lot to do with that, because if that same gank happens, say 3 or 4 minutes earlier, the Void very likely goes down. He's got that much less itemization or HP, but it doesn't because of the difficult start that LFY had. And those things just, I mean, the reversal there, instead of picking off the Void, both of them die.
The time walk when he gets all of his life back is probably when the heart actually broke.
The most demoralizing thing to see.
Oh no! And then he's like, oh, hold on a second. Turn around, Chrono.
It's such a tilty hero to try and gank. If you can get so close and then be so far because he just heals everything back. And then you try to go again and he gets another time walk off.
Those kind of moments make you feel like he's like super OP.
Yeah.
But
that's when you bust out your OS frogs and just start complaining. This hero needs nerfs. The old Void used to be super strong and OP.
That's interesting in the core choices from LGD, like the kind of similar trait that they both have, where like if you fight into them, you basically have to burst them down. If you get into it like an entangled, like if you get into a bogged down, drawn out, protracted fight with them, they'll get their HP back. Like they have a lot of value, like basically self-heal almost in a sense.
It's good because they don't have those defensive supports, so well, the cores can kind of just keep themselves alive well. So we're allowed to have maybe a little bit more of these kind of proactive team fight kind of supports.
Well, for LFY, we'll see where their hopes lie. Aegis expires. Very kind of characteristic for this LGD team and with this Death Prophet, just to not care about actually committing fully to the high ground with an Aegis. They're just playing the map control game. They could have just not had an Aegis. It just acted as like a bit of gold as well as like a slight safety buffer.
Uh-oh. They found Boss Man.
Uh,
I swear to God, you guys are all off the team. Bat goes down 14-3. It actually doesn't even feel like it's that dramatic, but you see the numbers there. Yeah. The farm is a little bit closer, but still a 7K advantage for LGD, and it doesn't seem to be stopping yet, but here's a big move from LFY. Good setup with the Burrow, with the Mystic Flare, and with the RP. But is it going to be enough to finish off LGD here? We see now maybe dishing out the Exorcism and just sucking the life away of the remaining fighters, and he keeps going at it. Can he get the triple? No, Ame's going to pick it up, but still a 4-for-2 trade, and LFY had a pretty good start to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see the synergy from their lineup, and you see like what they're kind of going for. The Sand King with the nice two-man burrow strike. The RP actually ended up pulling their heroes out of the Skywrath ult, so that was a little bit unfortunate. But they ended up killing those two without the Mystic Flare, but it just didn't have enough gas left in the tank to deal with the cores of LGD, and there's just no way they're going to win the fight with their big ult expended, and we could see a very quick GG here in Game 1.
Yeah, I think if you're using those big ults, you need to be killing Void or Death Prophet. You can't be once you throw big ults to kill supports, and even the Earthshaker as an offlaner, it means this Death Prophet and Void are suddenly unkillable. You can't actually deal with this Void when he's got Time Walk, the Spirit Siphon.
Okay, oh my goodness, just beautiful two-man chrono leads to a two-man Soul Siphon. Monet tries to step in. Him and Super will try to make the best of this situation. They get the move onto Victoria, but there comes the dunk right in the midst of it. And it's a hot scramble right now of LFY members just falling all over the place here. Afu trying to scramble down south to hide, but they just throw in the towel. They can't do anything else. It's just all in Grim for LFY. As grim as my camera work that game, but it's done.
That was a massive fissure from 11 from the trees, hitting, I think, 4 heroes. Rubik had a stolen Searing Chains, just was juking them for days. That was a fantastic bit of team fight and individual play coming out from some of the supporting cast of Maybe.
And if you think more about it, like even if they manage to initiate onto the cores, like you have really good counter initiation on LGD. You have the Echo Slam, which can just interrupt things. You have the Rubik, who can steal your big ults and throw them right back at you. Like they have options for dealing with that too. So it just felt like it was too hard for LGD to take good fights that game, and or pressure objectives at all. And LFY, I mean LGD really just handled the Buddha squad.
I think that's where you go back and say like draft, like because this mid Magnus didn't really feel like to hear that takes a while to come online from the mid lane. Like you've got to farm your Arcane Boots, then you're going to farm your Blink Dagger or your Treads and your Blink Dagger, whatever it may be. You're going to farm some items. Of course, the lanes weren't meant to go that badly. Inflame dying as much as he did was something you wouldn't normally expect. I mean, it's a Rubik AA. You can't totally fault him, but ultimately your job as an offlaner is to minimize those deaths, and it was always going to be a tough game for LFY with this draft, and then some small things made it even that much tougher.
What's chat's take on it from Chinese Twitch world on that game, on that performance?
Well, going back to that kind of older meme, the LGD preordained champions, you know, like they're showing it right here. There's a lot of more smutty comments on the stream chat, which is frequent. Again, like
smutty.
the Chinese caster circle has a lot more girls than the Western or other circles, and so people will, you know. You can imagine.
Out. They're horn dogging out in the chat right now.
You can imagine what
our
people
chat,
will say.
They're looking at us and they are not horn dogging. That's for sure. They're like, who are these sweaty nerds in the middle of the night in that brick house den basement casting Dota? Rob, we should just cut to a break so you can show the nice looking casters on the screen. That's game number 1 of LGD Gaming going against LFY. We will be back for game number 2.